Well, we don't know who we're going to
No,
play.
I'm talking about getting a lower seed as far as not having a.
You know, every year except for one since I've been here, we've had we've always had to wait to play somebody. We got one of the top two seeds, so we're used to it. We know what to do. The other team obviously burns some pitching. That's a big deal, but they get to play. They get into the competitive fervor early. So you can look whatever advantage it is. I'd rather have more pitching. So I'm glad we're in that position.
Getting a share of the conference title, obviously nice, but that 2 seed, how much of a difference does it make as opposed to getting the 1?
Doesn't make a difference. Really doesn't. If there was a lot of separation in the abilities of teams in our league, I'd say it makes a difference, but there's not. From top to bottom, anybody can beat anybody. It's been a very good league. San Jose State ended their regular season with a win over Stanford, and Stanford was trying to get into the tournament, and they handled them pretty well. So that's the kind of teams that are in the Mountain West. And still, I don't think we get the respect that we're due. I think the Mountain West is as good as anybody. San Diego State went head-to-head with Irvine and Stanford, and they've beat those guys. And so is Fresno State. Fresno State swept Texas A&M early in the season. So our league is good. And, some people in the bigger conferences are having a hard time swallowing that, but it's the truth. Mountain West is better than a lot of leagues.
Last time we talked, you were saying that you were waiting for that complete game, everything done right. The guys that fought and sprayed. Have you seen it yet?
No, that's what I just said. I said we still have daylight, and we still have an opportunity to prove that we all can play our A game on the same day, because that hasn't happened. That has not happened per man. People have carried each other to this championship. John Puste being that guy in the last game. Bridges in the last game. And before, they've had some bad games and somebody else picked them up. But what if we all played great defense, we all took great at-bats, and we all pitched well to the man? Then if that happens and we do catch fire, you got a shot at Omaha. And I think we can pull that off. I've seen it pulled off before. Case in point, Fresno State back in 2008.
What does the team need to improve on heading into the tournament in your eyes?
Well, defensively, it's not been the typical Lobo, great defense, lead the conference in fielding year. And Coach Hockamy's worked hard at trying to make that better as the year's gone on. And then also, offensively, we've had a lot of hits. We've been one of the top hitting teams in the country, but we haven't driven in runs. We also lead the country probably in left on base. So those are the things I feel like we have to do. The great thing is that we're 31-0 with a lead after the 6th inning. How about that?
That's great.
How about that?
Yeah.
So tip your hat to the bullpen.
As far as when you were talking about how the competition from top to bottom is so, like, on any given day even, so to speak, does it make for, like, maybe a possible intriguing Mountain West tournament more than in the past year?
You very easily could be somebody that you didn't expect if you're not careful. I mean, it's going to be really hard. And at Vegas, it's tough because at this time of year the wind howls out. The ground is really, really hard and fast, and it gets chopped up with a lot of games on it being played one after another. So fielding is going to be even harder to do, and scores could get out of hand. So it's a tough place to play for a tournament.
How about a couple of those teams? I want to ask you how you think they're playing type deal. You mentioned your own team. How about UNLV? UNLV is a very, very solid team, but they lost their number one. But their number two, who I feel is like as good as anybody else's number one. So they're now going to have to rely on people they didn't rely on throughout most of the year. So that'll be interesting to see. But they can hit, and they're pretty good fielding. They're an older club. And they've been on a mission this year. They're not really happy to be co-champs with us. So they're going to really be on a mission, and they're on their home turf.
which is a major advantage. You know, we still haven't been able to host a regional conference tournament yet, but hopefully with new facilities we'll be able to do that. But I think UNLV's is still in great shape, although they lost their number one. I think Fresno State's got the same kind of club they had in 2008. You never know what's going to happen with them. The Luplo kid for Fresno State is probably the player of the year in the conference. He hit 450 in conference. Unbelievable. And their arms are good. Air Force, I think Air Force, if Air Force catches fire, if Air Force does what they're capable of doing, they have as good of arms in the first 4, 5 guys as anybody in the conference. We're talking guys throwing 94, 95 and pitching. There's a lot of teams in the Southeast Conference, a lot of teams in the Pac-12, as well as the Mountain West, that like to have the arms they have. And they've got great athletes. So even San Jose State has great players. So it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. There's nobody you can go, well, we're going to get through this one. Nobody.
As far as the pitching matchups go, will that be determined by who you're facing, or do you kind of have a set plan?
No, we already you've already seen how we're setting it up. We always do this towards the start of the towards the end of regular conference and the start, knowing that that's coming. So you know how we're going to rotate, and Josh will be that guy, and we'll do our deal. But everybody's pitching well. Bridges threw extremely well last time out. And the key to all of it's pitching and defense. And so that's what's got to happen. We got to pitch and play defense like we're trying to build this program. We're going to hit, but it's going to be at different levels throughout the years. But the thing that we have to do to become that Omaha team is pitch and play defense. That's the key to the game. That's what got us a co-championship, was pitching and defense on the last weekend.
Speaking of Josh, is he anxious to kind of get that school record and have another solid performance out there come tourney time?
You know, Josh has been extremely unselfish about that. You know what? We didn't get that one for him last Thursday, and didn't bother him a bit. You know, I'm sure it did, but he didn't show it. He's a team player through and through, baby. He's about Lobos, and whatever it takes to help win and move on our journey towards Omaha, that's what he wants to do. So I tip my hat to Josh Walker. He's a class act.
But if you needed a fourth starter, is it play by ear, or do you have a small sample that you would choose from? Is it Jonathan Cuellar?
Well, that's who it would be. Yeah, that's who it would have to be. And you're going to need him. You know, you're going to plan on it. Yeah.
Anything else?